Hmm. Greetings, Tubineros. So I see in The Nation for December 26th, there's another of these full-page Israeli hawk diatribes from Flame. Fibs and lies about the Middle East or something like that. Anyway, The Nation puts out this disclaimer on page 5. And I read in tiny italic print. A warning to our readers, page 23 of this issue features an ad for Flame, which some are likely to find offensive. The Nation is committed to pushing back against Israel's policies and its treatment of the Palestinian people, and we have a long record of printing articles that debunk the propaganda such ads present. However, we accept advertising not to further our views, but to defray the cost of publishing. As stated in our official ad policy, we will accept advertising even if the views expressed are repugnant to the editors. Ads that present a political point of view fall under our editorial commitment to freedom of speech, so we grant them the same latitude we claim for our own views. We reserve the right to denounce the content of such ads, which we frequently do. The whole policy can be found at thenation.com/node/33589. Well, that sounds like a ghost story to me, because if the National Rifle Association or the Cuban American National Foundation approached their staff to run such an ad, they'd be refused in no uncertain terms, no matter how badly they needed the revenue. Actually, the motive for running these is pretty obvious. Many of the Nation's subscribers are Jewish liberals with a soft spot for Israel, as per my video on Soviet Israel, and so the Nation splits the difference between that and its anti-occupation stance so it won't be accused of anti-Semitism by criticizing said holy immaculate state. Seems Jesus wasn't the only Jewish entity conceived by virgin birth. Anyway, on page 23, we find the usual stuff. This one is asking, why should the U.S. fund the Palestinian Authority? Okay, I guess with as much reason as it funds the state of Israel itself. In the center of the page, I don't know if you can see this, or if you want to see it. Anyway, it's a quote from Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, the Cuban-American Republican representative from Florida, which says, if a Palestinian state were declared today, it would be neither democratic, nor peaceful, nor willing to negotiate with Israel. Well, here's one to talk, who has consistently refused to make peace or negotiate with the Cuban revolutionary state and has sought its destruction by endorsing terrorists and starving its people. This double standard of demanding negotiations from one side while Israel and its partisans wrap themselves in a mantle of vindictive righteousness, refusing to hear any voices but their own and blocking any contrary views, even on YouTube channels, is also typical. So, rather than bore you by reiterating this stuff line by line, as I've done in the past, or bother with representatives from Florida, let's address honorable people and summarize the whole problem by analogy. Let's say some descendants of the Ohio Valley mound builders show up camped on a sacred tribal burial mound in a pasture on the farm of Farmer John, the Baptist. Farmer John goes out one fine morning to see the settlers pitching teepees on top of the mound. He goes over to ask, "What you doing up there?" And they come out of the teepees and say, "We're taking this land back. It's our tribal homeland, and we've decided it's time we reclaimed what's ours." Farmer John scratches his head and says, "What do you mean, yourn? This land's been in my family 6 generations. You better get out of here before I call the law." "Call your man-made law," cried the mound builder descendants. "We have a covenant between our forefathers and the Great Spirit." "Oh, yeah?" says Farmer John. "Well, I got a deed for all this property issued by the state of Illinois to my great-grandpa in 1848, purchased at a public land sale when he come over from Germany, from the state of Illinois, and registered in the Marion County Courthouse." Scoffed the mound builders. "What do we care about your piddling piece of paper issued by the very power that stole the land from our forefathers and sent us on the Trail of Tears? You're the immigrant squatter, not us. We're tired of living in poverty on the reservation your people put us in. We want our own land. And we want it back, and that's here." Farmer John is getting not only flustered, but downright angry. "Look, you knotheads," he cries, "I'm telling you this is my land, my pasture, 'cause I got possession, and that's 9/10 of the law. I'll give you 2 hours to pack and get gone, and if you ain't, I'll learn you about the law real quick. Don't you go messing with my stock neither, damn it." And so he returns to his home, placing a call to the Marion County Sheriff's Department. After 2 hours, the sheriff hasn't shown up, so he fetches down his shotgun and marches to the back pasture to see if the mound people have vacated. Well, not only are they not gone, there's more of them. Farmer John calls up to the cluster of teepees, "Hey up there, you're still here. The mound people come out and say, "We know that. We told you we weren't going anywhere. This land is our sacred mound site, our temple, dedicated to the Great Spirit, who bequeathed this to our tribe forever." Farmer John is hot now. "Look, I tried reasoning with you people and asking nice, but now I'm telling you straight out." And he aims his shotgun at them point blank atop the mound. "You come down from there and stop this crap and vamoose, or I'll start shooting. End of conversation." Well, just then the Marion County Sheriff comes sirening up the road. Farmer John sees the cruiser coming, and he and the mound people wait for the sheriff to get up to them. When the sheriff emerges from the vehicle and approaches the scene of impending conflict, Farmer John cries in relief, "Boy, I'm glad to see you. I got some trespassers here, and I thought I was going to have to hurt them. Good thing you showed up to sort all this out. Now, go talk some sense into them, or I'll press charges, because I want them gone." The Marion County High Sheriff just gives an embarrassed grin and coughs and shuffles his feet and says, "Well, John, I'm here because there's a complaint filed on you for terrorizing unarmed citizens." "But they're trespassing," cries Farmer John, flabbergasted. "They're refusing to leave. And now I see they've done butchered one of my cows. I want them gone. Do you hear me?" The sheriff produces a document and shows it to Farmer John. "This is a stay that come all the way from the Supreme Court in Springfield. It says you got to let them stay till we can get all these claims sorted out." "What's to sort out?" exclaims Farmer John. "This is my land. I own it. They're trespassing and stealing my livestock." "Well," said the sheriff, "they got some pretty important friends in the legislature who don't see it that way, John. They want to make restitution to the descendants because it's election year." "Why are they restituting on my place?" screams Farmer John. The sheriff shrugs as he serves the stay of eviction. "Reckon because that's where the mound is, John. Don't do nothing foolish. We'll get it sorted out." So he drives off, leaving Farmer John standing there in the pasture, holding a court order, while the mound people gamble and frolic on the mound, and stick out their tongues and bare their buttocks at Farmer John, and, to add insult to injury, butcher another fatted calf in celebration of their victorious homecoming. Farmer John goes home to ponder his options. First, he tries the legal route, but he just receives stay after stay, while more of them start moving in and camping all around the mound now, and his legal bills pile up like patties in the pasture. So he decides he'll block up the little spring in the pasture and move his stock, and starve them out. But the court stops him from taking any such action while the case is pending, and he's effectively blocked from his own back pasture. And so as this grinds on, and he hears his mooing herd slaughtered one by one to feed a growing camp of mound people, he's decided enough is enough. He's going to get together his neighbors, and collectively they'll burn the trespassers out. And so he sets off to visit the neighboring farms one by one to get support. Only, while he's gone, the mound people have beaten him to the punch. They burn his house, and his barn, and his silo, and cart off his tools and equipment so they can start plowing up the pasture to grow corn and squash and other market truck crops. So when he comes back, he finds the whole farm. It's not only been cleared, but fenced off with new barbed wire donated by Friends of the Mound People Relief Agency, and he's told, "Get off our land. Possession is 9/10 of the law. We have possession now, and you're trespassing." Farmer John's had enough. So he finally draws down on the mound people with his shooting iron and starts blasting away. After a few minutes, here comes the sheriff again with the whole fleet of county mounties in tow, but they stop at the gate. A rock hits Farmer John on the head, and the mound people throw him over the fence, where he's arrested and put in cuffs and into the cruiser. "Sorry, John," says the sheriff, "but you shouldn't have started shooting. Now you've committed a felony violation, and we got to lock you up. But we'll put in a word for you and see if we can get you parole." And Farmer John cusses to himself in the back seat without his land, house, or stock, charged with reckless endangerment and homicide, because he wouldn't believe the mound people's claim to their ancestral homeland bequeathed by the Great Spirit. Well, it didn't end there. Here's the rest of the story. Farmer John got out of the pen early, but because he's got a record, all he can get is a janitor's job in town, living in public housing, and while he's sweeping up a yard for odd change, he notices a scrap of newspaper. And on that scrap is an article about the new Mound City built by the Mound people, specifically the new Mound City Native Casino and Resort. It seems the Mound people had been put up to reclaiming their ancestral homeland just so well-connected developers and paid-off legislators could finance the real estate deal with mafioso gaming of Las Vegas, with the Mound people serving as legal fronts for these investors. And now, as radio commentator Paul Harvey used to say, you know the rest of the story. That on my YouTube line. Bet it's APAC after this. Hello, Woody Guthrie. What's got you in such a mood? The murdering one of your songs? Which one? Pretty Boy Floyd? Dust Bowl Blues? Oh, that one. Now the new version is This land is my land, it's only my land. It was made for only me. If you don't get off, I'll blow your head off. This land was made for only me, me, me. This land was made for only me. It's a DMC violation and you're going to sue? Good luck with that. They're all singing that tune.